Hello and welcome to the Rant presents Versus. And today I have something very special planned for everyone because Garden Warfare 2 came out the other week, and I love it so much that I decided to do a special versus specifically for Plants vs. Zombies, specifically for Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2, and that would be the plants versus the zombies in the game itself. So I'm going to compare each of the troops against their equal, and we'll see which team rises to the top. So let's get started. I'm going to go over Plants vs. Zombies just a little bit. The game Garden Warfare 2 is a third-person game. You choose between a select of 7 characters on each team, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. And this game is pretty much just the first game, but it has so much more to it, including a hub world, new maps, new game modes, new characters, of course, new garden ops, new little bit of a story mode in there, and a lot of good things that were put into this game. So let's get started with, I guess I'll call it category number 1 still. So category number 1. So the first matchup we have is the pea shooter versus the soldier. The two basic, I wouldn't say basic, but the frontline soldiers here. And the pea shooter shoots globs of pea, pea, like the vegetable, not like piss. Anyways, it shoots peas at the at enemies, and if you hit them directly, it's like a 15-point hit. If you hit anywhere near them, it's going to be less, of course, but it does have the splash damage capability. And I'm just talking about the basic version, not the toxic pea or the fire pea. I'm just talking about the basic versions of each character. So anyways, the pea shooter also has the chili bomb, which it launches it and it explodes, killing whatever around it. The pea shooter also has what's called the pea gatling, where it just turns into a minigun. You can't move, but it turns into a minigun, and you can fire a select amount of bullets or ammo. And finally, the pea shooter also has a sped up mode. It can go really fast for a short amount of time, jump very high, easily escaping danger and whatnot. And all in all, I enjoy using the pea shooter. It's still one of my favorite characters to use. Very versatile, and very easily movable. I don't know how. Lots of movement, lots of speed. Woo! And up against that is the soldier class for the zombies. And the soldier has a kind of like a submachine gun or assault rifle, I guess you would say, that fires continuous spread of bullets or pellets. I don't know what to call them. And each hit does about 10 to 12 damage. Obviously has more ammo than the pea shooter in it, but it also fires faster. So they're pretty equal on that turf. The zombie also has the stink cloud for a special ability, which actually masks him so you can't see anything through it, and also damages plants that are inside the radius. It doesn't do too much damage, but it does help when you are just trying to get the last few hits on someone and they're hiding behind something. The zombie also has a rocket launcher attached to its back, and one of the things it can do is actually can do a rocket jump, which will boost you into the air and help you land on something, or actually get out of the way of like a chomper or something like that who is under you, or just get out of the way in general. And also the rocket can be used to fire directly at people, which will either do an insta-kill or do tons of damage if it hits. And just like with the chili bomb, it is hit or miss. If you don't hit them, it's a waste. But it fires straight, fires true, and you can do a lot with it. So, with this first matchup, who would you rather use, the pea shooter or the zombie? I actually lean towards the pea shooter, mostly because it does have the splash damage that the soldier doesn't have, which makes it easier to take down enemies a little bit faster, and the speed boost is a lot better than just boosting into the air. It does help a lot more with running away. So I would definitely use the pea shooter over the soldier if it was the last thing. I still use the soldier a lot. I like using the soldier, but the pea shooter it wins in that category. Next, we have category number 2, which is Sunflower versus Scientist. And these are the two healing characters of the group. The Sunflower is a sunflower, but it has like a machine gun type thing, just like the soldier has. It does probably about 10 per hit, and it has a nice slew of healing powers. So it has one where it lays down a pot, and it has health come out of it, so you can heal yourself, and if you just need to leave it somewhere, and other people can use it to heal. You also have the healing beam, which just creates a beam link between you and another player, and then heals them continuously until they're all the way healed. And finally, you have the laser beam, which you can't move while using, and it doesn't last as long as you wish it would, but it shoots straight and true and gets a lot of damage done if you hit the targets. On the opposite side of that, we have the Scientist, who has a shotgun type blaster, but it's more like the pea shooter's gun, where it fires balls of energy. It has a low ammo capacity of about 5, but it does a lot of damage, especially close range. And the original Scientist had a healing station, but now in Garden Warfare 2, you can either choose to use that or the direct link, which will heal someone directly, which is nice. The Scientist also has gooey bombs, which are kind of like landmines or so, but you can throw them anywhere you want and it'll explode, doing some damage, and most of the time will not kill. And finally, he has the teleportation power, which allows him to teleport really fast to a place in front of him, so that will help you get out of danger or help you close the gap between people. So, between the Sunflower and the Scientist, who wins? Well, I personally feel like the Scientist is a better choice over the Sunflower in the healing category, and also in just the basic stuff that I just mentioned. He can close the gap very fast between you and the other player, and the sticky bombs are good for throwing and sticking onto someone, and then they carry it to someone else, and then it's a chain reaction. So it's very nice to use. But I, just like with all these characters, I still like using both of them. But I like what I like. I don't know. Anyways, so let's get to some newer characters. So this one is the Citrus versus Super Brains. And Citrus is it's like an orange who has a laser beam attached to him that overheats after a while. So you do need to be careful about your usage of that, because if it burns out, then you're kind of stuck without a weapon for a few seconds, which can be life or death. The Citrus, or Citron, I think it's called actually, has 3 other modes that you can use. So he has the shield, which will stop incoming projectiles from the front for a limited amount of time before the shield's broken, which is nice. He also has the EM Peach, which stuns zombies and mechs in their tracks. It still allows them to shoot, but you can at least get a few good hits on them before they can get back into the game. And finally, he can actually transform into a ball and use a speed boost to get away, or he can use a charge attack to hit enemies at long distance, kind of like the football star's charge attack. He's a very strong character, has about 200 health on him, and so does Super Brains. But he's a good character. He's a beefy character, but he's very slow, just like the other opposite. The zombie version of this one, which is the Super Brains. Super Brains is kind of weird. He has punches instead of a laser beam attack, but if you aim, he has his laser beam attack. So up close you can punch people, and far away you can use the laser beam to kind of drain them down, which can be effective. The punches do about 50 damage per punch, but it's hard to land it. So you have to be very, very skilled to get close to landing that one. Super Brains has 3 modes, of course. He has a whirlwind attack where he just spins in a circle and hits whatever is around him, which works nicely with strong enemies. He also has... I have to think, because I haven't used him in a while. He has... what is that one? Oh, he has a kicking attack where he charges forward and kicks. I miss a lot with that. It's not as good as I feel like it should be. And then finally, we have the this Kamehameha that he does, where he charges up energy and just unleashes it at the troops. A lot of the Super Brain stuff is very powerful, but it's also you miss, and it is it is just you can't win after that. So between the Citrus and the Super Brains, I really would rather choose Citrus. That's just me, though. Next up in category number 4, we have the Colonel, which is the corn guy, versus the Imp. So the Colonel has two, I would say, submachine guns that shoot corn. He doesn't have a very big magazine, so make sure all your counts hit. All your shots count. The Colonel also has 3 different things he can do as well. He has one where he jumps into the air and just shoots anything that's below him. Not very effective in my eyes. It's mostly used to get to higher points on the field. He also has the chuck shot, where he charges up and shoots, and will hit whatever hits in front of you. Usually gets at least mostly dead or dead. And then he finally has the what is it? Hold on, I'll remember in a second here. Holy crap, what does he have? Oh yes, the butter bomb, which sends down an airstrike and destroys, blows up little tiny corns, kind of like the cactus's onion does. You miss a lot with that. It's hard to judge where it's going to actually land and who's going to be in the area by the time the things land. On the other side here, we have the Imp, who is very weak in his basic form. He has dual Uzis type things that have about 50 ammo, which as long as you get the shots on him, it's a clean kill. He's very fast and agile, but he only has about 50 health, which is weak in the eyes of everything else in this game. But in his transform state, he brings down a mech, which has a very long lifespan and has lots of very tough attacks. He does a stomp in that mode, and he also has a regular machine gun, and then he also has the rocket launcher launch. So it's very good to have, but it takes a while to earn it. You have to wait for it to be ready. Back in his normal form, the Imp has a kind of like this gravitational bomb that he throws that lifts up all the plants in the area and makes it so they can't really move. They can still kind of shoot, but you have a very good chance of killing them before they hit the ground again. And then also he has the whirlwind attack, where he just kind of spins in a circle and shoots, and kills whatever is around him. Well, tries to. And between the two, I feel more safe using the Imp over the Colonel, basically because the Imp gets the fucking mech, which is amazing, but also I miss so much with the Colonel that most of this stuff doesn't matter to me. So that's why the Imp takes the round for me. Next up, I have the Cactus versus the Engineer. And these are two classes that I barely use. The Cactus is a little bit too precise for me. He's kind of like the sniper class in the group. So he can zoom in a lot, and he fires needles at people. His 3 things he has potato mines, which you can lay down, and it's an insta-kill no matter what, most of the time. He also has a potato wall, where he raises several potatoes in front of him, and makes it hard to hit him. And then also he has what I mentioned before, is like the flying onion or whatever it is, that is like a recon unit. It also fires and brings down strikes on people. So it's kind of effective. But it's too precise for me, I think. The Cactus is too precise. Even though it does a lot of damage, it's just hard for me to control the Cactus myself. On the other end of the spectrum, we have the Engineer. And the Engineer is a pretty well-built class, although he's the ugliest of all of them to me. He has a concrete blaster, which kind of does what the pea shooter does. It has splash damage, but if you hit him directly, it does a lot more damage. About 15 to that magazine. He has 3 different modes now. He used to be able to have like what the Cactus has, like a little flying skull, but now he has a turret that pops up, and he's able to shoot rapid fire for however much ammo they give you, which is very effective at times. He also has the this like stun grenade, which stuns plants in their tracks and also allows you to stop choppers from burrowing in the ground. So very effective there. And then also finally he has the jackhammer, which he rides to get around very quickly, and he also is able to shoot with it. And Engineer does have a special power where he can build what do you call them? Teleportation things in predetermined areas just to make it easier for zombies to get around the map. So I think it's unanimous that the Engineer wins this round, even though I hate how he looks. He's easier for me to use than the Cactus, in my opinion. So next we have the Chomper versus the Football Star. And the Chomper is a very, very, very hard plant to use, but if used correctly, you can just destroy the battlefield. The Chomper has one basic attack, which is the Chomp, and that does a lot of damage, but you have to be right on someone to do it. You can also utilize his 3 strengths, which he can shoot goop at people, make them very, they slow down for a while, and it will allow you to come up behind them and actually do an insta-kill on them. After you do a kill, you have to chew your food, so it does take a few seconds for you to recharge. He also has the burrow, which I mentioned before, where you can go underground and then do an insta-kill on someone. And then finally he has the weed trap, where he spits it on the ground, and then a zombie walks by and they get caught in it, and then you can do an insta-kill on them as well. So you can kind of see the pattern here. Even though he's very difficult to use, if used correctly, you can dominate the battlefield. On the other end here we have this Football Star. He has a unlimited supply of ammo for like this Gatling gun type weapon that shoots footballs. It does overheat at times, so just be careful. He has a lot of health, and first and foremost he has the Imp Punt, which allows you to kind of do like a chili bean bomb throw from the pea shooter, but it does a little bit less damage, and it doesn't go as far as you would like it anymore. He also has the Sprint Tackle, which allows him to sprint forward and knock enemies out of the way. Also will kill lesser enemies. And finally, he has the All-Star Mat, which allows him to put up this like training dummy in front of him, and it will take the hits for him instead of being damaged. And he can put 2 of those up at a time. So between the Chomper and the Football Star, they're both pretty even for me. I do enjoy the Football Star, but if you use the Chomper correctly, the Chomper will dominate the battlefield, and that's why the Chomper gets the point. Finally, we have category number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I didn't announce the last one. There are a few of them. I kind of forgot this round. But anyways, finally, I have the Rose versus the Pirate, and these are 2 of the most insane characters in this game. The Rose has magic thistles, which follow enemies a little bit. It won't like follow them around corners, but it will track them if it's just a little bit off. It does a lot of damage, and she fires fast. She has 3 special moves, of course. One which makes her go into like this ghost state, and you can use like this Gandalf "You shall not pass" thing to hit enemies 3 times, anyone in the area of effect. She also has a slow time bomb that she has, where she can throw it and it will slow time. It pretty much just slows zombies down. And then finally, she has the power which turns zombies into goats. Doesn't matter how powerful you are, what you're wearing, you will turn into a goat for a predetermined amount of time based on your character and how strong they are. Which will, the damage is astronomical, but you can fight back a little bit. If you press the hit button R2, you can charge attack, and sometimes you can get a lucky shot on the Rose, which is rare, but it happens. And then finally, for the zombies, we have the Pirate class, which is new, and he has a very special gun because if you zoom, it's like a sniper rifle type thing, and if you don't zoom, it's a shotgun. But you have to be very, very close, but it does tons of damage. It takes at least 2 to 3 hits to kill someone with a shotgun, but it's very fast firing, and it's very effective. The long-range sniper does about 20 damage, so it takes a little bit longer, but it's effective too. He has 3 specials, of course. One of them, which he jumps into a dynamite barrel, and you can run up to enemies and detonate, doing some damage. He also has a parrot that he can use to scope out the area and shoot people. It's not very effective, but it's something. And then finally, he has the cannon attack where he jumps on a cannon and shoots wildly, and you can kill whatever's in front of you usually. And between the two, I don't know, they're pretty equal in my eyes. So I think they both deserve the point in this round. So as we stand, the plants have 1, 2, 3, 4, and the zombies have 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a tie! Who would have known? And there's really nothing else I can say. Between the two sides, I don't really prefer either one, and I think a tie is perfect for this because each side is equal in my opinion. They did a very good job of designing each character to have something to counteract the other character's power. And even with the newer characters versus the older characters, I've been able to, as a P-shooter, I've been able to take down, super brains and engineers and imps. And as the plants, as a zombie, as the soldier or the football star, I've been able to take down colonels and citruses and the rows and everyone. So they did a good job at keeping them equal and keeping it pretty fair. And that's really all you can say. If you have a preferred side, please write in the comments, hey, I love the plant side because, and you can list out what you want, and you can say, oh, I think that the zombies are better because, it's open for discussion because it's really everyone's personal preference. So, thank you for listening. This is the Rant channel. We have a podcast on here. We have this series that I do, which is Versus. And then we also have what Robert does, the person I do this channel with. He does the 5-minute reviews, which are short, sweet, and to the point. Gets a lot of information in a short amount of time. You can go check those out. If you love hearing my voice, you can go check out my own channel. I have YouTube haikus on there. I have my own podcast, actually more of a video podcast now. I have reviews of games. I have gaming clips. You name it. I try and put as much original content as I can on my channel. It's all from the heart. So you can check that out. It's called Jarsh's Opinion. So if you like this video, leave a comment, leave it a like, maybe even subscribe to the channel if you are so inclined. If you don't like this video, you can of course leave a dislike, and I will compare you to asparagus.